Welcome back to Journal Sunshine. Today I am going to be starting a new traveler's notebook insert and doing some memory keeping from a few months back that I've fallen a bit behind on. Today I'm going to be working in my Baum-Kuchen customized Truly Yours Traveler's Company brown standard size. I've made a video about this cover if you're curious and you want to know more about it, and I also am using some photos that I printed with this Canon IV printer. It uses zinc paper, which is adhesive on the back, which is very convenient. It's a little bit expensive, and the quality of the prints isn't amazing, but it's definitely convenient, and I use it a whole lot for this particular series of memory keeping journals. I have a very simple setup in here at the moment, starting with the B-Sides and Rarities olive zipper case with these little cat patches that I bought from Yoseka. If you want to see how I sewed those on, let me know because I filmed it and just haven't edited a video about it yet. For me, it's always very exciting and also daunting to start a new traveler's notebook insert, but here we are. I always find that I go in having hopes after finishing the last one, and this time my plan is to kind of stick with the same few supplies and styles of stickers and washi tapes and things like that. I don't want it to be too all over the place. I'm going to put together kind of a little capsule of supplies, and so we'll see how that turns out. I don't want to restrict myself, especially if I get halfway through this one and I'm not especially excited about it. I want to let myself evolve and let my style grow, but I feel like with my previous traveler's notebook insert, I just went in too many directions, used too many colors, too many styles, and I want to kind of simplify this time. We'll see how it goes. Here I am stamping the starting date on my title page, and I'll finish that up with the end date when I get to the end. It's not the day that I'm actually doing the journaling because I'm behind. But that's okay because it means I get an excuse to look back on some of the coolest things that I've done so far this year. So I already printed out the photos that I want to use for this spread. I was just kind of sitting and watching movies and printing out photos from the most exciting things that I've done in the last year or so. And that's kind of what I stick to in this journal, just the really good things or the really important things. One way that I manage to journal consistently is by having a messier journal that I write in on the regular, and that's kind of my daily thoughts, little stuff, big stuff, venting. It doesn't have to look pretty. And then when I want to sit down and really document the greatest things, that's what I do in here. When I'm doing this, I also get to go back through all of the ephemera and things that I had saved for my journal that have been piling up. And so this was a brochure from a dated Traveler's Company insert from a long time ago, and I had just kind of thrown it in a box and thought that I'd cut it up and use it eventually. So this is the time. I am pulling some of the artwork out of this. I love the design on these little brochures, and Traveler's Company just has the most lovely packaging. I end up wanting to use it in all of my journals, and I don't use it super often because I put it aside and I let myself forget about it. So finally gonna use these pieces. I don't even remember what year they were from, but it was from a while ago. And this is gonna be kind of a music themed spread, so these cassette tapes will be kind of perfect for that. If you have been putting aside ephemera and forgetting to use it, this is your sign to go through it and find something special and put it in a place where you'll actually be able to enjoy it, like in your journal and not in a box. So this is the block of paper that I decided to use for this insert, and this is by LCN. I believe I got it from Yoseka, and there are some really beautiful papers in here, and they also are in a variety of kind of types of paper. I think there's like a cardstock and also a thinner, shinier paper, so that's kind of exciting. I love a good torn edge, and I'm also hoping to make kind of a background that the two orange cassette tapes can sit on. I think it'll turn out pretty cool. I have an interesting picture in my head of how it's gonna go, but sometimes it doesn't always turn out how you imagine it, and that's okay too. You'll see that I move things around a lot, I switch things back to where they were, and once I am finally happy with where things are, I like to tape them down. And glue tape is my favorite to use for this particular kind of notebook because it doesn't take any time to dry, it's permanent, it's very sticky. I like this Tombow Mono Dots adhesive a lot. I've bought refills for this because I'm always very sad when I run out of it, but definitely my go-to adhesive for projects like this. For this page, I only had those 3 pieces, so I just kind of moved them out of the way and tried to remember where I had them before. But if I had a more complicated collage piece with a lot more layering, I would take a photo with my cell phone before I moved everything just so that I can refer back to that in case I forget where something goes. One thing to note, Traveler's Company, who made this insert, uses a different type of paper for their title page, and it's a little bit thinner and a slightly different color from the rest of the notebook. So I noticed that you can see through to the other side of the ephemera, and I think I'm just going to decorate the title page another time to cover that up. Moving over to the page on the right side, I'm going to use the scraps that were left over from that piece of paper to kind of carry that design throughout. And I'm going to go with smaller pieces for those just because there was a very large piece on the left side and I don't want it to be too dark. I also want to leave room for writing, so I'm going to make sure that I have some space for that. So before I stick the photos down, I took a minute to kind of look through my stickers and figure out if I wanted to add any of those to the pages. And I keep a couple of my favorite things in this zip pouch. It's so nice and slim, unless you pack it full of tons of things. But I think where I landed is that I wanted to add some clear floral stickers because I have this set that has a bunch of orange ones, and I thought that that would go nicely with the color scheme that I have going here. I got this set of stickers from Stationery Pal, and they gave me an affiliate code that I make a small commission on. So if you want to find those, I'll put information in the video description below. You can use my coupon code Journal Sunshine for 12% off. Another thing that I keep in this pouch are these little stamped pieces of paper that I made. Just when I first started out with clear stamps and rubber stamps, I was nervous that I was gonna mess up my journal if I tried to stamp in it. So I stamped on some other pieces of paper and cut them out, and I grabbed one. This is like a little prompt stamp from Everyday Explorers Co. that says "This Moment." So then I stuck down the top photo and got my date stamp out to stamp the first date on this page. This page is actually going to cover a couple of dates over the course of a week. And from there I decided that I was pretty happy with the overall design of things, so I just went ahead and stuck down the rest of the pieces that are just kind of floating around at this point. I decided that I wanted to cut the corners off of this little piece of craft paper with the stamp on it, so I did that. And I thought that that looked pretty good, so I decided to move on to the writing portion. And so I grabbed 2 pens to use for this spread. One is the hard tip Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen, and I love this thing. It is very easy to control, and I feel like it turned out okay. I've been trying a slightly different style of brush lettering where I don't connect all of the letters. I've been seeing a bunch of really wonderful creators doing that, and so it feels a little bit unnatural for me, but I would like to get some practice with it, so I went for that. And then for my tiny little paragraphs, I am using a Uniball 1 refill in black. It's a pigment gel ink, and I love it. It's the 0.5 tip, and it is actually inside of a Zebra Sarasa vintage pen body. Those are on the expensive side, and they're really heavy and nice, and so I like putting my favorite gel ink refill into a pen body that fits it that's a little bit fancier than usual. I mostly ended up writing with the gel pen, but every once in a while when I had either a heading or some text that I wanted to emphasize, I would switch to the brush pen. And I like this style. I feel like it turned out okay this time, so I'm gonna keep working at it, and hopefully once I get farther into this particular insert, I'll be really good at it. So this journaling spread is about the week that I played my first in-person music show since the beginning of 2020. And so it had been several years. I was really missing it. I had performed a lot of online kind of live streamed shows on various platforms, but I really missed getting up on a stage and having a live audience in front of me. And so I was very looking forward to this. I also got to perform with a full band, which doesn't happen super often because normally I'm just kind of a solo acoustic artist. If you want to watch a video of my performance from this show, I put one on my main channel a while back, so I will link to that in the cards above. And you can also listen to all of my recorded music on Spotify, Apple Music, other streaming services. So you can just look up Lauren Fairweather and you'll be able to find all of my solo albums. As I got through the week, I got the date stamp out again and kind of quickly notated little bits of things that I did in order to get ready for the show. So on this next day, I got my new glasses. And then a day after that, I got a haircut. And then we reached the day of the show itself, which I saved for the bottom of the page. So I separated out this section with some nice big brush lettering in a heading, explaining pretty much what I just told you, that this was a big deal for me. This is a really exciting week, and so I am excited to have it documented like this. I really don't always mean to get super far behind with these, but whenever I take the time to work on these pages, I end up really happy that I did, because this is the kind of stuff that I like to look back at. I like to share with people. And so it's an important thing for me to do when I have the time and when I'm motivated to work on it. Out comes the date stamp again, one more time for this particular spread, and then I went ahead and filled in as many things as I could remember that I wanted to put at the bottom here. And like I mentioned earlier, I have another journal where I write as things are happening, and it's less edited and more rambly and more messy, but having that journal is really nice when I'm working on this journal, sometimes months later, because then I can refer back to it, find out what happened, see if there's anything that I forgot about that I wanted to include in here. And so I don't have to worry about forgetting anymore. For example, over here I wrote the lineup of the show so I could remember the bands that I had performed with that night. And then I wrote out a little caption at the bottom so I would remember what was happening in this photo. And I'm actually in this photo, and it wasn't a selfie, which is kind of rare for me. My friend Linda took this photo, and so I was very happy when she sent me this and a few others later in the night, because when I'm performing, I usually don't have a way of taking photos or videos of myself. So always very appreciated when the people in my life think to do that and share it with me. I am very rarely in photos in my journals, I've noticed, unless it was a selfie and I'm the one holding the camera towards myself. For a final touch, I remembered that I had these Everyday Explorers stickers that had a considerable amount of orange in them. So I looked through them all a bunch of times, found this tiny little sticker, and added it to the corner of this photo. And I think it pulls it all together, and I feel pretty good about this. The first spread in a new insert can be intimidating, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and I like the colors, and that's honestly surprising to me because I don't really go for orange super often in my journals, but feeling really good about this. So excited to start catching up a bit more. I am never fully caught up in my memory keeping journals, but I'm going to enjoy the process as much as I can because it is a really fun thing to do, and it is a good exercise to look back at all of the best things that I've done in the last year or so. So I hope that this was fun for you. It was fun for me. Do you ever end up really far behind, and do you try to catch up like this? Do you end up backdating entries just to make sure that you have them documented somewhere? I am hoping to post more of these. If you like this type of video, let me know. I'd like to film more, but there definitely will be spreads in this journal that I don't share, and that's okay too. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on those new videos when I do post them. And if you happen to be on other social media, you can follow me over there at LaurenFairWX. I post a fair amount of journaling content on those other platforms as well, especially Instagram. That's my favorite at the moment besides YouTube. And I hope that you're all having a really good day. Enjoy your journals, write about something that makes you happy, and I will see you next time.